We got a lot of great history here. You know, I kind of think of governors, I guess, when I ask that question, and one of the moments I think that I think about sometimes is a moment during the Depression, during the 30s, when Governor Clarence Martin poured the concrete pour for the Grand Coulee Dam. It was the largest dam in the world at the time, and he actually got up and held the bucket and did the first concrete pour in the early 30s, and then he personally came up with the slogan, "Keep Washington Green." And we're the evergreen state, and he came up with this slogan. It was his own idea, saying, "Keep Washington Green," and it was a slogan about how to, you know, reduce forest fires and sort of act with a conservation ethic. And the reason I note that is that those two things still have a resonance today. We now are looking at new technologies, solar cells, carbon fiber, wind power, of new ways of generating clean electricity that are zero carbon, no carbon pollution. And I sort of think of that moment in time when he used what was kind of a new technology for its day. We're now moving to another plateau. And his idea about keeping Washington green is something I'm very interested in.
The one or two biggest problems that your state is facing today?
Well, we've got to find a way to finance our schools. We still are really low in our educational funding to help our students. And we've got, in fact, a court order here in our state by our Supreme Court to finance those schools. So we're looking for a bipartisan way to make sure we get that job done. We need to move forward on our state's climate change agenda to reduce carbon pollution, and I'm very active in leading that effort. We need a new transportation package. We've got roads and bridges that are in trouble. And my state is a very dynamic state. We've got 1 million people who are going to move here in the next decade or so because of our high-tech economy that is just booming in the high-tech field. Amazon's going to hire 40,000 people in the Seattle area in the next decade. Boeing, we have secured the aerospace future now. We will be building the new Boeing 777X with a carbon fiber wing. We're going to do it right here in Washington State, and we've really secured our aerospace future. So we're going to have a lot of people moving in from around the country and around the world, and we have to have a way for them to get to work. So there are 3 challenges, but we're up to the task.
What challenges has the legalization of marijuana created for you and for the state?
Well, a couple. One, we've had to be very judicious and have been in developing a system that will not allow leakage of marijuana outside of our state. And the reason that's important is we needed to win the confidence of the federal government not to come in and shut down this decision by voters in this state to move forward. And so we've been very dedicated to having a very tightly controlled market so that it doesn't go to places where it's not supposed to against law. And I think we've been very successful on that. We've got a very tightly controlled market. We've got limited number of outlets. You have to show very good means of having a well-regulated marketplace. I think that's the first. The second is you know, as a grandparent, I've got 3 grown sons and 3 grandkids, and I think the challenge is that voters in our state decided that the continued criminal prosecution of adults' decision to use marijuana is not a worthy state policy. But on the other hand, I think a lot of parents and grandparents like myself, you know, don't want to diminish the importance of our kids making smart, wise decisions and not having, you know, their lives taken over by something that doesn't help them, you know, move forward to realize their dreams and their ambitions and their visions. So I think the challenge is to find the right way to talk to our kids about this. And certainly, you know, I want my grandchildren to have ambitions for being good parents someday and good husbands and wives, maybe, if they decide to go that route, and not let them be derailed by any substance, marijuana or anything else.
The economic impact that you expect that legalization to have on the economy?
We know that obviously there's a demand for significant amounts of marijuana, but it's very much an open question of whether that will end up as producing significant revenues. I think it will not be insignificant, but there's a wide range of what it might actually mean as to the amount that is subject to our taxation and produces money for state coffers. We don't really know what that's going to be, and so we're not booking that or making assumptions about that. There's a lot of things that we don't know yet about this market, and time will tell.
What do you see for the rest of your term?
We proposed a raise of our minimum wage in our state. We have seen tremendous economic growth and fortunes being created in our state, which is a good thing to be celebrated. But a lot of thousands of people in my state are working hard, but they don't earn a living wage now. And so I have proposed raising our minimum wage. We think we should have a shared prosperity economy in our state where, I believe all jobs have dignity, but I think they also ought to have a living wage. I think economic justice is just as important, and advancements in economic justice are just as important as advances in technology and science. So we've made that proposal. We'll be working on that. We'll be working on making sure we finance schools. We'll be working on our climate change initiative, and it's a 24/7 job.